All right, belated welcome to the Week 8 Forum. This week we are dealing with Chapter 8 Experimental Research. The idea behind this week is that we want you to be able to describe the basic principles of experimental design. We want you to be able to describe the role of field experiments, laboratory experiments, and natural experiments in political science research. We want you to be able to describe the internal and external validity and what they constitute and what are the threats to each. And we want you to be able to analyze problems and ethical issues related to experimental research on political phenomenon. So the basic appeal of experimental research is that it looks the most scientific, right? There are typically 5 steps that you're going to take with an experimental design. You want to form, identify 2 very separate groups that are exposed to an intervention. One group is going to be, basically intervened with. The other group is not going to be exposed. They're going to be basically the control group. You're going to have a random allocation of subjects to the groups before the pretest. You're going to have one pre-intervention, pre-test measure on the outcome variable, one intervention, which is otherwise known as the test or the treatment, and then you're going to have one post-intervention measure of the outcome variable. That is supposed to give you data that is reliable, right? And of course, at any particular point in that step, how you form the 2 groups, how you allocate group, people into that group. Of course, if you're random, if you're able to focus and do things randomly, that can reduce a lot of the problems. The nature of the treatment, again, this is all very scientific. It looks good. When you're dealing with political phenomenon, there are a lot of challenges, probably more challenges than you would find if you were investigating a phenomenon where where behavior was less variable, less likely to be variable. And again, it gets back to the fact that human beings can respond to things in a lot of different ways. So you're going to have a lot less certainty, right? So again, the challenges that you have in conducting an experimental, design on human behavior is first of all how do you can create those kinds of conditions? How can you be sure that there's not interaction, that you're not your intervention is going to be equal for each group? There are a lot of different things that can go wrong, with these kinds of tests. Field experiments are also kind of, an important way of doing things. This is something that happens a lot within political anthropology. They go out into the field, and again, they try to investigate human behavior, in real time. There was a recent study done, like several hundred different scientists that were studying the effect of people wearing surgical masks in a rural part of, I want to say, Indonesia, and they discovered that that again, where they could identify that the conditions were being met, that the masks actually did work pretty well in terms of reducing the spread of COVID. So there are a number of strengths associated with experimental design. You can investigate things, causal relationships. And if you conduct the design well, you can have a high degree of confidence in the findings that you produce. But it's really practically difficult to advance when you're studying, political phenomena. And so hopefully as we read through this material, we'll get an idea of what you can and cannot achieve using experimental research designs for political science.